So I think that's just kind of been the time for me to like really find some patience. And I've never been a patient person my entire life. So this has definitely tested me a little.
They say good things come to those who wait, and for Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever fans, the wait is almost over. She just shared a big update about her injury, and it looks like she's nearly ready to return. But this comeback isn't just about Caitlin stepping back onto the court with a polite round of applause and a quick welcome back graphic on the screen. It's shaping up to be something much bigger. While she's been out, a lot has changed, not just for her, but for the Fever and the entire WNBA. And then there's the strange part. No one really knows exactly how she got injured in the first place. That mystery has sparked all kinds of rumors, and honestly, some of them might just be true. If they are, we could be looking at a sharper, stronger, and more fired-up version of Caitlin Clark than we've ever seen, from the way she's been talking to the press, to the shift in tone from the Fever organization, to the drama unfolding across the league. Everything is pointing to one thing: this comeback could be huge. Records could be broken, and the way people talk about the WNBA might never be the same. We'll dig into all of that. But first, if you think Caitlin's return could break TV records, give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe for all the latest Fever updates. Now, let's rewind a few weeks to see how we got here.
Obviously, this game is peaking at 3.2 million viewers is crazy for the WNBA, even for the Fever. So this year's peaks are already freaking higher than last year's peaks, when this team was starting to do a bit well.
Before Caitlin Clark was sidelined with a quad strain, she was doing exactly what fans expect from her, racking up highlights and setting new records.
Possessions for New York. Clark, step back three. Oh, she hit it and draws the foul. Welcome back.
The Fever's game against the Liberty drew nearly 3.3 million viewers. That came right after their season opener against the Sky, which averaged 2.7 million viewers, making it the most watched WNBA regular season game since 2000. In other words, the Caitlin Clark effect is real. And here's the crazy part: the Fever weren't even playing all that well.
1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud lofts her up, and New York comes into Indianapolis and takes the checkered flag.
At that point, the Fever were sitting at 2-2. Sure, the blowout win over the Sky made it seem like they might be turning into a powerhouse, but in hindsight, that win said more about how rough things are in Chicago than how strong Indiana looked. The offense still felt out of sync, like they were trying to figure things out on the FLY.AS. For Caitlin, she was still producing, still dangerous, still making highlight plays. But if you were really watching, you could tell something was off. She didn't have her usual bounce. The explosiveness just wasn't there. We'll come back to that, because it plays a big role in what happens next. So, when the news dropped that she'd miss at least 2 weeks and a minimum of 4 games, fans were worried, but there was also this quiet sense of confidence. The team's new veterans would step up and hold it down. That belief got tested pretty quickly.
I think this was a kind of gut punch for us. We're going to come back tomorrow practice, more focus, more energy. We know we want to be at the end of the season, but we're not just going to get there. You know, sometimes it sucks and it's a grind, and that's where we're at right now. But I do think short term and long term, it's going to make us better.
After the Fever's first game without Caitlin Clark, a loss to the Mystics, Sophie Cunningham spoke out. And looking back, what she said really stands out. She clearly saw what was coming, but for fans hoping the team would bounce back quickly, that didn't happen. In fact, things only got worse after that Mystics game.
Inbound to Mitchell, who nearly lost it, retreats, gets up a really tough shot, and Connecticut survives.
Losing to the Sun, a team that started the season 0-5, was a tough pill to swallow. It left fans and analysts questioning everything about the Fever's direction. And just when it seemed like it couldn't get any worse, it did. In that same game, the Fever lost both Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson to injuries, Caitlin Clark's 2 primary backups, gone in a flash. Suddenly, the roster wasn't just thin, it was hanging by a thread. But this is where everything started to shift, because sometimes, when a couple of doors slam shut, another one opens wide, and for the Fever, that door was named Ari McDonald. Off a defensive stop and quick steal, she turned heads immediately, racing down the court and finishing strong. A hardship signing no one saw coming, McDonald brought instant energy, fast-paced play, and a much-needed spark to the offense. She quickly became a fan favorite. And now, more and more people are saying the same thing: she's not just a short-term solution. She deserves a real spot in this team's future.
And if there's one thing that is a certainty for the Indiana Fever, it's that hold on to Ari McDonald at all costs.
The Fever started to find their rhythm. First up, they got their payback against the Mystics, turning the tables after that earlier loss.
And the Indiana Fever has beaten the Chicago Sky by a combined 62 points in 2 games.
Now sure, beating the Sky isn't exactly a headline anymore. But this time? It felt different. The Fever pulled off the win without Caitlin Clark, without Sophie Cunningham, and without head coach Stephanie White. And while it wasn't their cleanest performance, it was still a convincing victory. That's the part that should get the rest of the WNBA's attention. The Fever just showed they can win without Caitlin. Kelsey Mitchell has shaken off her early season slump and is starting to look like herself again. Aaliyah Boston continues to dominate in the paint. Lexi Hull has been lights out from 3, she's in the running for most improved player, maybe even sneaking into all-star territory. There's a lot to be excited about, and here's the kicker. When Caitlin comes back, this team won't just pick up where they left off, they'll be better. Her time away gave the rest of the roster a chance to grow, to step up, and to prove they belong. Hat alone should have Fever fans buzzing, but if you're a Caitlin Clark fan, there's something even bigger. This injury didn't just help the team, it highlighted just how vital she is to the league. Her absence made her value impossible to miss. Let's start there.
The cheapest ticket for the June 7th showdown is $14, according to Vivid Seats. Oh, there's some even less expensive than that.
First, let's talk about the game against the Sky. It officially shut down the "they're here to watch me too" narrative. Right before tip-off, tickets were selling for as low as $3. That's right, it cost more to buy a small popcorn than to get into the arena, but here's the twist, their rematch just a few weeks later? Ticket demand is already skyrocketing again.
The cheapest ticket for that game next month is currently at $82, according to Vivid Seats. It gets much worse. Therefore, there's currently an 83% drop between the 2 games.
And don't worry, I'll spare Angel Reese from too much teasing. She only scored 4 more points than you, me, and my blender combined, but here's the real point, that game officially ended the rivalry, right there, in front of the biggest crowd and under the brightest spotlight. The league saw one of its most hyped young stars deliver one of the most disappointing performances of the season. And no one's buying the media spin anymore.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, the most coddled basketball player in history. She is the 43rd best player in the WNBA. She is, and that is being the most generous I can be coming into this season.
But fam, don't you dare exclude Angel Reese out of that. That is favoritism. Don't show that, man. You need to call Angel Reese out the same way you are willing to call everybody else out.
All of this makes one thing crystal clear, Angel Reese isn't the one changing the game. This is Caitlin Clark's league. When she comes back and the ratings soar again, the debate will be settled. It's over, and maybe, just maybe, the WNBA will finally realize it's time to truly promote and protect its biggest star. Speaking of her return and those record-breaking numbers, let's dive into Caitlin's recent comments, and what some are calling a quiet controversy. I might be reading into this a bit, but there's a conspiracy theory going around, and honestly, I'm intrigued. Take a look at this next clip, then tell me in the comments if you think I'm onto something or way off. When Caitlin was asked directly about how she got injured, here's what she said.
Is this an injury that happened during a game or anything, or is it just something that is lingering that popped up? Or?
It happened in the Liberty game, yeah.
Were you able to pinpoint a time in the Liberty game that happened, or you think just?
No, definitely early in the game, but I couldn't tell you the exact play something occurred on. And
Caitlin says she can't recall exactly when the injury occurred, but many people aren't convinced. More and more, folks think this wasn't a sudden accident. Instead, it seems like she's been dealing with it quietly for weeks, something that slowly got worse, and she kept pushing through until she just couldn't anymore.
Happened in the Liberty game, yeah, I don't believe that. She looked 60% in the Liberty game. She looked no better against the Atlanta Dream. And there's no way it happened in the Liberty game. Unless, she looked so much better in the second half of the Liberty game as well. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
First off, that idea actually speaks well of Caitlin, and I'll explain why in a moment. But let's be real, there's probably some damage control going on behind the scenes. If this wasn't just a sudden injury during the game, and the team knew about it while she kept playing, that changes everything and brings up a whole new set of questions.
If things just go as they were, and we have expanded season of 22 home games with modest inflation, I'm looking at $875 million.
Think about this, Caitlin Clark is worth nearly $1 billion to the league this year. If the Fever knew she was injured but still let her play game after game until she finally had to stop, that's more than just bad publicity, it could turn into a serious PR problem. I'm no lawyer, but given Caitlin's fierce drive, the fact she hasn't seemed fully healthy all season, and just how much depends on her success, it all adds up.
She hasn't looked really right all year. Like, the Sky game was the Sky game. They destroyed the Sky. Sky were terrible. But outside the Sky game, she hasn't looked right at all. She didn't look right in preseason. She hasn't looked right at all this year.
This isn't some wild conspiracy, it's just basic damage control. If that's what's really going on, it makes sense why they're keeping things vague. Now, here's the good part, this is actually why I hope the theory is true. If Caitlin has been quietly playing hurt these past few games and is now finally stepping back to heal, we could be about to see the best version of her yet. Think about it, she wasn't at full strength and still delivered solid numbers. So just imagine what she can do when she's completely healthy. And there's even more to back this up, another sign that she might have been playing through pain all along.
I think at times the hardest part is like just not being able to be involved in practice. Like, I love practice. Not a ton of people always enjoy like coming to practice every single day, but that's something I like really enjoy. Like, I really enjoy coming out here and like competing every single day with my teammates. Like, that's probably honestly what I miss most. Obviously I miss the games. That goes for anybody that's ever hurt, but like, I love practice. I love getting better.
And that right there, you just can't teach it. Caitlin has that fire. She thrives on the hard work, the reps, the film study, the extra effort. She's always pushing to get better and lifting up her teammates along the way. Sure, being sidelined is tough for her, but even now, she's finding ways to help the team, grow as a player, and lead from the bench. At the press conference, she gave us a clear look at how she's still making a difference, even when she's not on the court.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a unique perspective, you know, when you're out there playing and actually in the heat of the moment, you don't always realize everything. You don't always see everything. You see things from a different perspective that maybe the coaching staff didn't see. So it's certainly different. So I'm trying to, you know, kind of be that connector between the coaches and then my teammates at the same time, whether, you know, that's in the locker room at halftime, whether that's during timeouts of, you know, things I see from the bench that maybe might be a little bit different of a perspective than maybe our point guard is seeing or, you know, anybody on the floor is seeing.
Caitlin has always been a student of the game. That's nothing new. But this time on the sidelines might be giving her something fresh, a coach's perspective. And it's clear she's growing because of it. She's becoming an even stronger leader. She's not just sitting back and watching, that's not who she is. She's fully focused, studying plays like a coach, staying vocal, keeping her teammates motivated, and learning as things happen. Now, the big question everyone's been waiting for, the one on every Fever fan's mind and in every headline, when is Caitlin Clark coming back? Here's the good news.
After that, it's, you know, day by day and see how I feel and just kind of turn to the medical staff and what they think. But I feel like I've made a lot of progress and I feel good and, you know, not going to rush coming back. It's just not worth it.
If you're a fan of Caitlin Clark or the Fever, here's the news you want to hear. She's feeling good, and more importantly, she's taking her time, not rushing her return. This isn't just about one game, it's about the whole season, maybe even beyond. Honestly, the reason she's in this spot might be because she pushed through the pain. That's just who she is, a true competitor at heart. By the time you see this, she may have already played against the dream. Personally, I don't think that's likely. The Fever are winning without her, the season is still young, and sitting out now means she gets an extra full week to rest. But hey, I'm not her doctor. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm right or wrong. No matter when you watch this, one thing's clear, when Caitlin Clark comes back, it's going to be a huge moment. She was already breaking viewership records before sitting out, and honestly, we haven't seen her best yet. This short break actually did something powerful. The difference between the league with her and without her is now obvious. The Fever had to find their identity and learn how to win without her, and facing that challenge early in the season is exactly what they needed. Now, with Caitlin healthy and a stronger, more confident team around her, they're ready to do what everyone hoped, become a real championship contender. It's amazing what a little patience and time off can do. If you're still here, drop a trophy emoji in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.